What's going on YouTube? JT's Reborn here, and welcome back to another edition of my DC comic book reviews. And in this video, we're going to be talking about Night Terror's Angel Breaker issue number 1. This one, of course, is written by Tim Seeley with art by a.k.a. That's a very interesting name, unless it's a pen name or something. But yeah, so this one's written by Tim Seeley. This is focusing on the character of Angel Breaker, who really has kind of shown up briefly here and there. I think she was first introduced in Shadow War. We weren't giving much of a background on her. And then I think she appeared in like a Dark Crisis tie-in. But other than that, she hasn't really made much in terms of appearances. I think she had some sort of control of the League of Assassins, last I remember. But I could be wrong because, again, she has barely ever appeared in anything. She has a really cool design, though. I'm surprised she hasn't really been utilized all that much. It's kind of like when Tiny introduced all those different characters, like Miracle Molly and all that, and they showed up for a while, like Ghostmaker as well. Well, Ghostmaker is actually appearing in a lot of different things. Miracle Molly kind of just disappeared altogether. I forget what happened to her, and then Clown Hunter and all that. But, like, Angel Breaker was kind of introduced, and then she kind of just seemed to fade into obscurity. But now she's back here in a Night Terror's tie-in thing, and in terms of Night Terror tie-ins, this one takes a little bit of a different approach, and I kind of admired that about that one. This one actually seemed a little bit more interesting because we haven't really gotten much insight into who Angel Breaker is. She was kind of just introduced and not so much, but again, this is written by Tim Seeley, so of course you know who has to show up, and that is, of course, Raptor, a character who was mostly prominent in his Nightwing run. In fact, there's some references going all the way back to Nightwing issue number 9. That's right, that was back in 2016 or 2017 when that particular issue came out. Hard to believe it's been that long since this the rebirth began. I just remember reading all of Nightwing all the way back then, and I really liked the early stuff in the Nightwing rebirth run. And then things obviously took some strange, bizarre turns, but it was still a pretty entertaining comic book at the time, at least from what I remember. There's some moments too, but wow, it's been a long time. Although I'm kind of curious, though, is Nightwing, would that still be considered canon, though? Because, like, here they're like, oh, this was only a couple of months ago. Couple of months? It's been, like, 7 years. Like, how is that only a couple of months? The DC timeline is so confusing, because then you got to think about, did Rebirth really happen? Because a lot of the timeline changed, and trying to think about the way the continuity works, it just hurts my brain. So I guess we'll just sort of roll with it then, because yeah, post like with Dark Knight's death metal and like characters spontaneously just aged up for no reason all around, everything's canon but it's not really canon. It's just, it gets so confusing anymore that it's just kind of hard to follow up in terms of the timeline and everything. But I guess only a few months have passed. I don't know. Like, I feel like more time has passed. I mean, look at how many 100 issues we've had in, like, time spans and all that. But, again, it's comic books. Like, time moves at a much slower pace there. But anyway, so she enlists the help of Raptor to go after something known as the Dreamscape because it was in possession of John Dee, Dr. Destiny, and basically it has this power of sorts. It harnesses the power of the legendary Dreamstone. So this is actually set at the start before the Nightmare Wave takes off, if you will. And then, of course, during the actual mission, things start to happen to go awry. But anyways, at like one point, she kind of falls asleep on Raptor. They kind of hinting that there may be something there, or she's just kind of a very bizarre character in general. I guess her sword has some sort of abilities too, but like I said, I really like her design. I'm surprised they don't showcase her more often. But anyways, they end up at a Kobra school. That's right, like not Cobra Commander, but Kobra, the cult of Kobra. And we have a couple students there, and they have their, it's kind of a bizarre little school, if you will. These kids are basically the future. They go in there and they're trying to steal this little dream snake thingamajig, take out some different people. She had, of course, hired Raptor. Well, I mean, she's paying him like $100K, but he also was kind of goaded into doing this whole thing because if he didn't, Interpol was going to come and take his ass out, if you will. But yeah, so it's actually kind of fun and interesting. And then during which like the Nightmare Wave hits and everyone kind of falls asleep. And then some creepy ass old lady shows up at one point called like the nanny. I guess Angel Breaker's had fears of her as a kid. The plane they were on kind of crashes into an, and I guess lots of crazy nightmarish stuff happens. Even a little kid kind of gets devoured by this nightmarish creature. So this story doesn't quite hold back. And again, with this little dream snake thing, which has the power to like manifest the power of the Dreamstone, if you will, it actually feels like something that ties into Night Terrors. Who would have thought a Night Terrors comic book that kind of feels like it may actually like lead to something? And that's kind of one of the aspects I actually really liked about it. In terms of the Night Terrors books I've read so far this week, I think I've read, like 3. I kind of like this one the most. Some of it was a little bit confusing because I'm not as familiar with some of these characters, but after kind of rereading it and going through it, there's a little bit of intrigue. There's some mystery. I kind of want to know more in terms of like where this story is going to go from here, because again, I don't really know much about Angel Breaker, and it's not like she's a character who's been around all that long. I think Williamson created her, introduced her back in Shadow War. Was it like a year or 2 ago? And we haven't really had much insight into her, and we're starting to get little bits and pieces here. So this is the kind of stuff I want to know more about. Like, you have this Night Terrors event. I mean, if you're going to have a character who's been around but not really has any real fleshed out backstory, this would be a good time to do so, but actually find a way to tie into really the themes of it. Yes, we still have the nightmare aspects, but this whole dream snake thing, I feel like this could actually play a factor into things to come. Hopefully, that's the case, and it's not just kind of tossed aside, but it feels like this one could be something important as opposed to some of the other ones where it's like, okay, you're caught in this thing. Insomnia's, who should be appearing in those side issues, is not really doing anything, but this one took a bit of a different approach, and it felt a little bit more fresh compared to some of the other ones. So I liked it overall. I still got to read some of the other Night Terrors books that are out this week, but in terms of the issues, this is the one I'm kind of like the most positively intrigued by where it's going to go from here. So yeah, I think that's all I have to really say about this particular issue. If you have any thoughts on it, let me know in the comment section down below. Be sure to like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the YouTube channel for more content, hit the bell for notifications, all that other fun stuff. I will be back again. I got Detective Comics, then I got Harley Quinn, and then I think I got Titans, and then I should be all caught up in terms of Night Terrors videos for today. So try to get them all out at once, and that way I can be all caught up for tomorrow. And then, yeah, so I've been a video uploading machine as of late. I've done so many that I've kind of lost track, but yeah, I just need time to kind of read the comics, let it digest a little bit, and let it process. Then I can get to making the videos. But when there's like 6 or 7 of them in one day, it takes a minute to kind of go through. So, but yeah, all right, that's all I have to say. As always, take care now. Bye-bye then, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace.